Hey folks, so I want to take a few minutes and talk to you guys a little bit about the Wave Serpent and my experiences so far. I've ran them in several tournaments so far and have had a lot of play testing with them, putting anything in them from just Guardians all the way up to stuff like Banshees. So really like this vehicle. I'm happy with the direction that they went in with it. It's not as powerful as some previous editions, but it still has some significant punch on the table, and it gets your units to where they need to go. So talking about the vehicle itself, on its own, it has a shield. So if you get shot, it is a -1 to, or you basically it reduces the damage by 1. So you're definitely much more resilient in that respect. Of course, you're only bringing it down to a minimum of 1. So death by 1,000 cuts is definitely going to take this thing down really quickly. But those high punching shots or the low damage shots of like 2 or 3 are definitely going to feel the strain when it comes to firing at this vehicle with that shield on. Now, if you want to get rid of that shield and use it as a weapon, you can do that. I wish they would have used it more along the lines of a suppression weapon, but suppression really doesn't seem to work in this edition anyways, so I think they went in a good direction, and it just basically causes a bunch of mortal wounds to a unit that's closest to it. So it's essentially you roll a D6. If it's 2+, the shield goes off. You do D3 mortal wounds to that enemy, and it's going to be the closest enemy target. Now, once you've done that, your shield is gone, and whatever. Another nice thing about this is it's a hover tank, so you're going to be measuring all the ranges from the vehicle's hull as opposed to the base. And then you've got your fly, so you can get out of close combat and be able to shoot things or fly over top of stuff. It's extremely fast, which is really nice. You can go up to 16 inches. Putting some extra upgrades on there, you can go even faster. A few things that you can't put in here, of course, are going to be jump pack troops. Wraith Guard, they're going to be counting as 2 models. And, of course, you can put anything that has to do with Phoenix Lords or the anything with the Craftworld tag on that. They have to be marked as infantry, too. Now, when we're talking about the resilience and the upgrades, let's talk about the weapons first. You can put all kinds of different weapons on this. It starts off with your twin shuriken catapults at the bottom and a twin shuriken cannon up top. There is very little reason not to change the twin shuriken catapults at the bottom to just a single shuriken cannon. Having those one last shot at the extra range is definitely important, especially with how crazy close combat kind of gets and piling in and stuff. You want to keep your vehicles at range as much as possible. So when we're talking about the primary weapon up top on the turret, you can put anything on there: star cannons, scatter lasers, Eldar missile launchers. You can put bright lances, and then of course the twin shuriken cannons. The bright lances are good. There's no problem with bright lances. They are heavy, so you can toss a targeting matrix on it to be able to shoot at the closest unit without having to take any negatives for moving. But what I really think shines on this vehicle are assault weapons, because the upgrades you can put on it can really help the vehicle and basically increase its longevity. So when you're looking at the vehicle and the various different upgrades, by itself, it has that shield that's very strong. Put spirit stones on it, you have an additional layer of protection. So you have your save, you have that 6+, feel no pain, and then of course you have your shield reducing 1 damage to a minimum of 1. Add another layer of defense on there if you put vector engines. So if you advance, it's going to be -1 to hit you. Of course, -1 if you're using assault weapons, and this is where those shuriken cannons are going to be really important, using those instead of some of the other weapons, so you can still fire after you advance. So that's really good. And then if you toss on, if you have extra points somewhere in your list, to be able to toss on the star engine so you can go even further, I think it's like 2d6 for your advancing. You can move across the table really quickly, get shots off, and get out of some tight situations. People shooting at you is going to have a harder time, and then really when they get really close to you, you can unload your Serpent shields into them to really try and take out a unit as a last-ditch effort. So I love this vehicle. It's great. It has lots of uses. It's really, really resilient on the table. How I've been using them in conjunction with my Guardians is I'll move them up and I'll soak as much fire as possible, and I'll usually focus on the closest, well, you can only focus on the closest unit when it comes to the Serpent Shield, because what I'll do is I will fire off that Serpent Shield and of course, at the beginning of the movement phase, unload everybody, and it's usually all Guardians, so I'll have 4 Wave Serpents, 4 groups of Guardians unloading, and just focusing as much fire into those close few units, and they usually eliminate a number of units right off the get-go on that turn 3 and 4 once you've been able to get up there. So really, really important to take advantage of those layers of protection, take advantage of the unit capacity, and take advantage of the low cost of the Guardians, because you can get so many shots out there with the Guardians in tandem with the Wave Serpent. It's incredible. 9 shots with the Shuriken Cannons. You've got your twin up top, that's 6, and then of course your Shuriken Cannon upgrade at the bottom, that's another 3. It does offer a lot of pain. Now, you do need to make sure that your list has something to take care of those larger armored units, because your Wave Serpent can only do so much damage right off the shot, and it's more of a last-ditch effort when you're talking about the shields. You want to really take something out, that really nasty, heavy unit that's in front of you or whatnot. Anyways, with that said, I'm really impressed with this Wave Serpent. What's your experience been so far? What are some kind of tactics that you guys use with the Wave Serpent? So anyways, with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye now.